Hey, good afternoon, all you cool cats out there. This is Mr. Non coming back to you with the video series, It's All Greek to Me. So, in this third episode, we're picking up right where we left off. We're still in lesson 2, but now we're in part 2. So, today we're continuing on with democracy in Athens. Someone remind me, what is democracy? Democracy is a form of government where the people rule themselves. If you break down parts of the word, demo means people. So if you ever hear demographics, that means the study of people, or charts and figures about people. Cracy means the rule of the. So democracy, or democracy, means rule of the people. So that's what democracy is all about. That guy we studied last video, he was the father of democracy. He was the one who first came up with the idea and started this government. What was his name? Clisthenes. Clisthenes is the father of democracy. He's the one who got this whole idea started in ancient Athens. He was an aristocrat who thought that it was time for the government to change, so he formed the first democracy in ancient Athens. So Athens was a very unique city-state for this democracy. Nowhere else in the whole world at the time had a democracy or a government like this. So they were very, very unique. In their democracy, they would gather outside of the fort, so not at the top of the hill, but on the open area around the hill. It's the little circle that we demonstrated. Can you remember what that's called, where they would meet? That meeting place or the marketplace? The agora. They would meet in the agora and they would gather there and they would be called the assembly. So when you have an assembly in school, that just means it's a gathering. Everyone's coming together to hear something or watch a presentation or, talk about something. So an assembly just means a gathering. So these guys would assemble. They would be citizens only. So only citizens would gather at the agora and meet on the open hillside to debate these issues. People would stand up, they would give speeches, and they would try to get people to vote for them either as a leader or as an expert on a topic. As I mentioned in class, experts would always be the first group of people to talk. So if they were doing a construction project, they were trying to build something, the first people they would bring in, the first citizens they would have speak would be experts on the topic, such as like a builder or a carpenter, someone who would know the most about the topic. Then they would open it up and say, okay, does anyone else want to give a speech or talk about this topic? And they would come up, they would give their speeches. It was a loud, noisy affair. Can you imagine more than 6,000 people on this hilltop all shouting, saying, no, boo, or yeah, let's do that. That was a very noisy affair in ancient Athens on the hilltop for those citizens. So the experts would come and speak, and then everyone would be able to give their opinion equally, regardless of status. That's an important thing to note. The aristocrats, those people who had money and the land, they didn't have more power than poor people in this system. If you were considered a citizen, you were part of the process of government. You were included in the Athenian government. So that's a pretty unique thing, again, for Athens, is that they let any citizen participate in the government. Now, there are some groups here that are being excluded, unfortunately. Anyone who's considered an enslaved person is not a citizen. It had to be a male, so I'm very sorry, ladies, but it's ancient. The ancient world sometimes is not fair. So you had to be male, 20 years of age or older to be a citizen. So that was their age. In the United States, we usually say 18 is being a full citizen. In ancient Athens, it was 20. And you had to be born in Athens. So you couldn't have just moved there from Sparta or moved there from somewhere else and become a citizen. You actually couldn't become a citizen of Athens if you were an immigrant. You had to be born within the city-state. So again, that's male, 20 years older, born in the city-state, and you could not be a slave. So those were the qualities to become a citizen in ancient Athens. So because of this democracy, this system of government that they had, they really took pride in themselves. They were like, yeah, we got the best government. Look at us. Team Athens all the way. So Athens was very, very proud of themselves. And we had an acronym before we let out and started doing these online lessons. We had an acronym. It's called ABS. Because if you remember about ancient Greece, you've got abs. So, what did ABS stand for? It's ABSS. ABS. Athens, something. Sparta, something. Athens is brains, because they're all about wisdom. They have debates. They have a democracy. They have a very advanced type of government. So they're all about using their brains, using their noggins for wisdom. Their town's even named after the goddess of wisdom, Athena. So Athens is all about brains, which means Sparta is all about strength. We're going to learn a lot about Sparta in the next video. Before we go, I want to leave you off with a homework assignment. So we talked a lot about Athens. Check your PowerPoint on Google Classroom to see some pros and cons of Athens. Either benefits about Athens' democracy, about their government, or some drawbacks about their democracy, because they had both. They had good and they had bad. You can even draw a little T-chart like I have here, which has pros and cons, or pluses and minuses. And on the PowerPoint, I have 3 listed. So good practice for you would be to go on your T-chart and practice these pros and cons of Athens government. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or just tell me how you're doing. Hope you guys are doing well. Peace out. Oh, and remember, it's all Greek to me.